Welcome to the greatest podcast in the universe.
Number 6 in Indonesia, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're from near
14 in New
Indonesia.
Zealand. I think it's 63 in in
Kazakhstan.
in
Remember?
Uzbekistan. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All the stands.
you're famous in the stands.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone hold on to your fucking seats. With all due respect to every other guest and poor Jackson, this will be in the running for the best podcast ever done on travel. Maybe even if Bobby and I butcher it, what happened on our trip to Cambodia, I got just rehashing everything that I went through. I was like, oh my god, this was like intense. It was a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, I
Um,
had to literally kind of piecemeal together the blackout memories.
yeah, it was such an epic event. Bobby ended up just marrying his girlfriend instantly. He was like, you know what? It was just I need someone with me all the time. I need to be like held and taken care of.
Yeah, soon after that, I became steady with my now wife. Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out watching me run around naked in our hotel room will do that to you.
Oh, I do
But
have those Snapchats.
which
Which, if you had like an OnlyFans for like a subscription, that would be the content.
yeah,
To
that's a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Nothing
behind
sexual,
this.
more just like
No, just ridiculously
industrious.
humiliating. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think it was sweet.
No,
Well,
it was it was endearing.
yeah, endearing is the word you're looking for. In this episode, everyone, to give you a taste, we're going to talk about Happy Pizza, which is a pizza, real pizza laced with drugs. And we'll get into that.
Well,
But
define drugs. Like marijuana is not a drug anymore,
yeah, you're right.
right?
It's
So laced with just weed. That's
where we wanted to die at some point,
Anthony
which will,
Bourdain. That was the inspiration for that place.
because he died?
If you know, if you
Oh, because
go
he
to
went.
the Cambodia episode of Anthony
Okay,
Bourdain,
got it.
he starts the episode or ends the episode at Happy Pizza.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk about more.
Yeah.
We're way better than Anthony Bourdain, anyways. I thought he was terrible, to be honest. Rest in peace. Um, we'll talk about, speaking of roller coaster of emotions, Happy Pizza, Want to Die, Funny. Then we go to the Killing Fields, which is the saddest I've ever been traveling. And me and
Mm.
Bobby bawled our eyes out for an hour walking around this place, listening to an audio recording. We had a run-in with a wild King Cobra, so we almost died. We thought we were going to die once, and then we almost died a second time. There is Joss shots, which we'll get into, aka
Mm.
gorilla panic, which is
We have a lot.
illegal, I think, in every country aside from Cambodia. Correct, Bobby?
There's a list of around 33 countries it's banned and illegal from, I guess.
Yeah,
From
it's
what
like
we were told, and
WMDs.
it can definitely induce a heart attack, or it's like the chemicals we give in like stress tests for like
Yeah,
treadmills. It's one of those. This in a shot with like Red Bull and like vodka. Oh, it was
yeah.
terrible.
It's except 10 times worse.
But it was also
And
the
then
administration of it. Remember, you got to spin around and get slapped, and it's a
yeah,
whole it's a whole process.
an incredible process.
And don't forget bartering with locals to have someone steal their father's fishing boat
Yep,
to be able to
yep.
take us. We have so much to
Home.
unpack.
Yeah, and creepy jungle rave, industrial fans,
Alice in
mopeds
Wonderland
and
in the
water
jungle.
buffaloes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a ton of things that happened. And if you want the full podcast, it'll be on inspiretravelite.com or all Spotify streaming services, everything like that. So check that out. And yeah, Bobby, we have a sponsor. We're brought to you by Caged, which is
Nice.
they have like electrolyte stuff, pre-workouts,
They
all
are not
greens,
banned
which taste
in other,
delightful. Yeah, and they're very healthy.
so they're
I'm actually drinking
legal
some right
in all
now
countries.
out of a San
Fantastic.
Diego Zoo. Yeah, legal. San Diego Zoo
I
Cup,
love
which
that
I'm
zoo, by
sure
the way.
someone will be like, "Oh, you shouldn't go to zoos. Second greatest zoo in the world." It'll probably be
Nonsense.
some
What's the first? Wait,
local
if San Diego's
asshole.
not the first favorite, What's the first favorite zoo in the world?
Singapore. Singapore. Singapore is outrageous. They're
Well,
close to equal, but Singapore is wow.
they probably just have more pandas. That's the only reason.
And they have
Cause
fucking monkeys just walking around. They just walk around everywhere. You can go in an enclosure
stealing
with
shit.
animals everywhere running around, monkeys everywhere. It's the greatest zoo ever. Um, but yeah, so it's
For the
all healthy. We
experience.
inspire travel, eat. We promote health. Did you see there's, not to get off too much of a tangent, we'll get back into Cambodia, but there's a vaccine for fat kids now. Like
What, the
Pfizer is
semi-glutide?
working on a vaccine. So instead of like walking around and getting healthy, they're just like, hey, take this shot. Not to get on like my vaccine
I didn't
soapbox,
know that.
but
I mean, they have the
it's
cheat
wild.
code now with the semi-glutide. Yeah, the little injections. It basically
Yeah.
just stops your, I guess, blocks insulin, whatever it is, and it's a cheat code. So it's basically we've allowed
Yeah.
people to go towards that extreme and say, hey, no worries, we'll fix it, not a problem.
Yeah.
Don't do
And this
anything
one's
yourself.
directed
Just
at, yeah, this one's directed at
yeah.
kids. And I'm like, what? Like
I'm not
6-year-olds.
gonna lie,
And I'm
there
like,
are a lot of benefits to that too,
parents,
though.
it's like chubby kids. This isn't an indictment of you. Like parents, take your kids outside. Like
You know
treat
what?
them like a pug.
It's
Take them
a
for an hour walk. Don't give them.
multifactorial. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's having a dog, right? We don't have kids on neither of us, but it's like, you have to
Yeah.
maintain that certain level of balance of diet and exercise. But I'd say for the most
Yeah.
part, the diet is inadvertently just worse than it is overall on a global scale in our country, at least, than it was 10 years ago. Like we have so much more processed food
Yeah.
that is destroying us from
Exactly.
inside out versus,
Have we thought about
Cambodia
instead
with
of
the
giving
finest justice's
billions?
milk.
Yeah. Like instead of us
Mm.
sending billions to places and like spending it all on vaccines, why don't we spend that to like make healthy food cheaper? How about that? Have we thought about that?
Because there's no
Have we thought
money in it.
about
It's there's no money in it.
exactly?
You're not gonna
Huh?
profit off of, putting too much money up
Health.
front for high quality health and foods.
Correct.
It's more money on the back
Correct.
end. So that's a different topic for a
Yeah.
different day. I
Exactly. That's
mean,
a
did we
whole
see a
different
lot of fat
podcast.
Cambodians? I don't know. I don't remember
No,
much. No, not at
it
all, actually.
it's like yeah, even in North Korea, they barely have any chubby kids except for that one because of all the food, remember?
I mean, the
Saw that
island we
in
were on, there was no chubby person on the island.
no,
Not one.
all
Yeah,
healthy, skinny kids.
everyone was fit.
They
It
get
had to be.
outside. I'm sure like someone's gonna yell at us like, "Oh, there's medical issues with kids. Don't chubby shame." But it's like we're chubby shaming the parents. There'll probably be some again some local asshole from Sedona. Don't
Listen,
hike on our
I
land.
was
I own the
chubby at
house.
one. I was chubby at one point, getting Carl's Jr. and Del Taco every day after school, and it was
Yeah,
just that's what happens, and then you have to just kind of
yeah.
figure out the problem and then fix it.
Want to know what? I've never been chubby my entire life until I moved from Canada to the USA. So that's a perfect example. Now I'm a fat
And it
asshole.
shows you're
Yeah,
that guy where everything comes easy.
yeah, just fatness.
Yeah.
Um, so back to Cambodia, we went to a few places. Uh, Phnom Penh. I don't know how to pronounce it. I went to Siem Reap, which is my favorite place on earth, and then we went to the islands. What are the islands called again? Jesus, this
Orang.
Orang. Yes.
And that was the location of Survivor Cambodia, just I think 5 6 years prior to that.
Yeah,
And the
prior to our
locals were
trip.
telling us that they didn't even have internet or electricity or infrastructure at all until that show came to the island and had to force feed all that infrastructure to have their broadcast and crews all taken care of, like
Look at
kind of paving
Survivor.
away roads and stuff like that.
Survivor
But they still
really,
had hotels. It was kind of weird.
yeah.
They had
There's a one,
five-star hotels for like $80 a night.
yeah, it was gorgeous. What's that
Yeah.
other like? It was like the island that had less stuff. Like if you wanted more things, you go to Korang. If you wanted less things, you go to I forget.
I don't know the other island because I just kind of blacked
Remember,
out
it's like
everything until I named.
it was close to the one we went to. I'll pull it up
People
right now.
talked about it, but we didn't go there.
We didn't
We
have
went
time.
directly on
Yeah,
that ferry where we used a 2x4 to cross from the pier to go onto the boat, holding our bag over, 6 feet below ocean water, praying to
Yeah.
God you don't drop it. And then you make it onto your ferry and you're there for an hour.
Oh, I
And
think we're
then
on Koh Rong, and then there's Koh Rong San Loam is the more chill one, or Koh Se.
I don't
Yeah,
even know
we're
what could
Koh
be more
Rong.
chilled what we were on. Ours only had
So
one.
Koh Rong, yeah.
Ours had one basically hippie encampment on one side of the island, and apparently the opposite side of the island had that very exclusive, very hush hush paradise for oligarchs and
Oh yeah.
beyond wealthy that you can only access it by helicopter or yacht or something.
Yeah.
There were murmurings and whisperings of
Hmm.
that, but we couldn't go there. Obviously, we were lucky enough
It's
to
true.
barter our way to rent, not even rent, just borrow the owner's mopeds for our
Mopeds.
adventures.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everything
Where we
was a
almost died
bartering.
twice.
Yeah, that was the
That's how it
second
should
time we
be.
almost died.
I think I'm gonna move to Costa Rica, even though that's not like full bartering, but I still want to live in America anywhere. I want to live where I can just barter all the time and not
Just
have
go to a beach.
insulin. Yeah.
So you're gonna just have
So
coconuts for food and for money source. That's fine.
yeah, that sounds incredible.
But
Um,
dude, when you go back to that island in
Go wrong.
Korong,
Yeah, there we go.
all those people who worked there were just random wanderers who just found their way there and said, "Okay, I'm just gonna set up shop here for 6 months and be a DJ on this jungle forest, and then take people out with their lives at stake to the middle of the ocean and make them jump out into the dark water just to swim with bioluminescent plankton." Remember that?
And there was octopus or jellyfish. Sorry, there was jellyfish also in there, so we got like stung nonstop. Not hard, but just
Yeah, yeah.
little
And this is like
stings.
some punk little 21-year-old like hippie from Germany
Yeah,
saying, "Yeah, totally safe, bro.
yeah.
Sign this waiver." Just no waiver. it's, what is
um,
this? Sign it with your blood, man. That's it. Yeah, it was the best.
yeah, and so I guess we'll go back to Koh Rong in a second. I think we should start with Phnom Penh, and also yeah. So everyone who wants to go to the islands, Koh Rong is a busier island. Koh Rong San Loem is like the super chill, less people island, but they're both crazy chill. Um, Phnom Penh stuck out for multiple reasons, but it's great. It's just a giant city. There's cool food, like area, or what's it called, like a flea market, a food market.
The
That was really
bazaar
cool.
we went to where you got Yeezys for like $20.
Yeah, and
Identical.
they're still alive too. They're like still legit
Yeah.
hanging in there. I don't wear them anymore because obviously you're not allowed to. He got canceled, but I still
Phnom
got
Penh,
them.
it's an interesting place because there's so much history, unspoken history, that is not
Unspoken.
broadcasted to your history books and society and elementary schools at all. It's been hush hush, like a
Yeah,
big embarrassment. And they
yeah.
even have like places, I guess it was like 20 miles outside the city, you can go shoot a bazooka. One
Oh
of those
yeah,
kind of, remember those? People
yeah.
go, like Phnom Penh is one of those places that people fly to shoot machine guns and
Shoot
shoot
machine
rocket
guns
launchers. Yeah.
at animals too. Not even just at like a go kart. You can shoot a cow.
It's pretty ridiculous. And the killing fields was not long ago.
Yeah.
It
What?
was within like one generation.
Yeah, it was like the 80s, right? So
I
anyone
think it was
that's
before that.
1984 film, when was the damn for more than 100K? So everyone who's not familiar, I was not familiar, Bobby was not
We were
familiar.
not familiar.
Also, we didn't introduce you. This is Bobby Bedi. Are we allowed to say what you do or just one of the things?
Yeah, any of the things.
So I can say all the things then. Okay. So
Yeah.
Bobby is a doctor and a DJ. So if you're into cool shit like doctoring and DJ, or if you have any like goals in your life, just follow along Bobby Bedi on Instagram, DJ Betty.
Yeah.
So it was in 1975 to 1979.
That's not long at all.
Or 1970 to 70, yeah, 75. So for anyone who doesn't know, we were almost alive during this time. My parents had no idea. It was hidden. Basically, it was a genocide where more than A million people, they say a million to 3 million people were killed by the Khmer Rouge regime, which
Khmer
is a,
Rouge, that's what it was. Yeah.
yeah, and Pol Pot. So it was basically like the Holocaust, but for Cambodians, and because they
Do you have
weren't
any numbers also in front of you
like
of
numbers.
how many people perished during that time?
Yeah, so there's 113, 1.3, 1.4 million victims of execution, 20,000 mass grave sites, including death from disease and starvation, range from 1.7 to 2.5 million out
And
of
they were
their.
targeting educated people,
Yeah.
people with degrees, people who were literate, those,
Hmm.
and women and children too. They were trying to make these people extinct.
Yeah.
And everyone we spoke to, even our manager of the hotels, two of the hotels, remember the one we had drinks with at, on top of
Yeah.
on the rooftop, and the other one from Karang, both of them told us they had relatives or uncles who died in this.
Yeah.
Like
And
it's still a living, breathing memory for these people.
UNICEF estimates 3 million had been killed. Some other guy said 3.42 million were killed. So basically it's
It's
crazy.
more than any other genocide
Uh-huh.
in
So we
recent
went
history.
we went to the killing fields, which is basically like a major mass grave site, and they give you an audio like headphones that you listen to of like this a host whose family was in the killing fields, and he tells these stories all the time, and you just walk around and bawl your eyes out for an hour. It's like the craziest thing. Me and Bobby just like went our separate ways because we didn't want to
It's
hold
too
hands.
solemn. Yeah, it was too
Yeah.
sad because they have these
Um,
collections of like these like children's clothing pieces they dug up,
that
all the
still keep on coming
bones.
out every time
See,
it
like, it
floods because there's like the mass
more
graves that
and
you
more comes up.
walk by. The like bones and clothing bits will like come up to this day. Every few months it'll be like they'll find more clothes and put them in this little box that you get to walk by and be like, oh, that's great to see. And then there's a tree that they show you all, like they would take children. It was the main bashing
Oh,
tree, and
I
they
don't
would
want to
bash
think about it.
babies against this tree.
Just awful.
And you go by like the gas, like there's buildings where they like would gas you. You
The
go by
chambers,
that.
yeah.
And then there's a
Every
whole,
which way of method of killing they utilized,
yeah.
and it was
Um,
overwhelming.
I think I wrote about it. I think I have an article on the blog about Cambodia, but like go,
I
there's
think it's
pictures
super
on
hard
my
to
blog
revisit.
or Google it. They have just skulls, like a building of just skulls.
I remember that.
So
You
that
know
was
what?
heavy.
It's weird because like while I have memories of our trip and have all these like poignant kind of moments,
Mhm.
for some reason at Killing Fields, I think it just my brain just kind of protected myself and like I can't. Now that we talk about it, the visuals come up again, but I have
Yeah.
not thought about it since now or since that time.
Wow.
They're just kind of blacked out. Like you get
Right?
traumatized because you
Yeah.
realize the real cruelty of humanity within your own generation. It's not a distant history.
Yeah.
It's this is something that people here are worried about which bathroom to go to, but it's yeah. How
Yeah.
about you worry about you're so lucky to be here
Yeah.
and not born in that kind of society at
Yeah.
that time.
It could have
It's
been your brother. Is he born in 1979 or 1980?
80, but yeah,
Oh, he missed it by a year. He was
yeah,
safe. He
just
was
missed
outside
it.
the danger zone.
Oof.
Yeah. Not like he's from Cambodia, but he could have been.
Yeah, it's it,
Yeah, as
and
well.
there's something to be said about the
Hmm.
finest Cambodian breast assist milks. So we can get
Yeah.
back into that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did
Um,
go on a hunt.
yeah, so then we go to also a quick anecdote about Phnom Penh. There were Rovers and everything everywhere, so I think there's some sort of underground like something's going on. Remember how many nice cars? Like it felt like
As at the
75% of the
corner
cars
of
were gorgeous.
yeah, every intersection had some like compound
We thought we were in
with
like
some
LA, like
guards on the
Hollywood.
outside, and yeah,
There's
there was
just
like S classes and
being
Range Rovers at every single
everywhere.
compound.
Where meanwhile
It's
the rest of
and
the place is absolutely completely poor and impoverished.
it's one of those countries, man.
So it's something's going on. When we'll find out in 10 years and be like, aha, Bobby and Fraser told you on this really great podcast.
Yeah. And,
So then we go after that roller coaster of emotions. We have to go 5 hours to the beach to get our ferry to go to Koh Rong, and we hire a driver to take us. And Bobby, being the doctor, was like, "Hey, it'll be fine." I've never done drugs before. I think I maybe smoked weed at this point like once. And then there's Happy Pizza, which is featured on what's his name show that we don't talk about, Voldemort. And and we tried it. And I was like, this sounds great. The one time I smoked weed, I just fell right asleep. So we've got a 5 hour drive. We'll eat this
It was
pizza.
just more of those like one in Rome
Oh
situations.
yeah,
It's like Anthony Bourdain talked about it. It's like when you're
exactly,
here with the people, this is what they know. There's a
exactly.
place called Happy Pizza where they make delicious pizza, but they infuse it with
Mm-hmm.
marijuana.
Are we sure there wasn't
And
mushrooms?
no,
Okay,
it was
I was
just
sure.
they are only allowed to do marijuana because they would be
Okay,
murdered if there's anything else in there.
gotcha.
So,
And the
it's a very strict
craziest,
country in that
yeah,
regard. But
Happy Pizza was we
you
went
learn
to go
later
find
on,
it, and it was like we think, oh, it's maybe in like this back alley, or it's like here.
no,
It
it's
was
some
like
showcase. Yeah.
downtown Phoenix, like a 7-Eleven, just on this, like on the main strip. It was just a regular
Yeah, right next to
Pizza
the
Hut.
waterway. Yeah.
We're
It was
like,
beautiful restaurant.
yeah. We're like, all
It's
right.
world renowned. It's
Uh,
like they didn't give us any warning, by the way. When there's edibles at stake here, those need to come with the warning label
yeah.
because you don't know what the hell they're putting in there. It's just one of
No.
those, like, we're experiencing this where we neither of us had jobs at the time, so we're free to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't hired anywhere. It was free.
Yeah.
So, and I'm the other side of the world, and so we're gonna try this. And the pizza's so good, we both have one slice and decide, hey, let's have another. Because, God knows, things don't delay when they come kicking in strong like a freight train.
Yeah. So we get in our car and we're like, hey, let's just eat this whole pizza. Why not? What's the worst that could happen?
We
And
got nowhere to go for 5 hours, right?
yeah.
We just trusted our lives and our belongings to this random guy to take us across the
Yeah.
country to the coast,
And then
which
for
is easy for burying bodies too. So yeah,
Yeah. And then for 2 hours, I Bobby was funny too, but I felt like I was the funniest human being there's ever been on this entire earth, and we were crying, laughing for 2 straight hours. It was
I couldn't
incredible.
breathe at one point.
It was the funniest thing day of ever. And then the
We went to
following,
the coast of like edibles, the
the
happy
f-
times, and
yeah,
then
the following
we get
18 hours, we wanted to kill ourselves, and we thought we were gonna get murdered, and we don't remember much of it aside from the first probably 3 to 4 hours where we thought our driver was going to kill us.
because we both kind of dozed off after our hilarious little escapade of laughter for like 2 hours,
Yeah,
and then we kind of wake up to this random gas station meeting point of like him and all his buddies.
yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
We just pull off the side of the road. There's like one light, one little building. He's like, stay in the car. We're like, why do we want to stay
yeah.
in the car? It's pitch black outside, no one around, but there's other dudes. Granted, we're 2.5 hours away from our pickup point, but he knows people
Huh.
here. This guy was tall,
And
dark, and, kind of crazy
yeah,
looking too.
and and for everyone mad if anyone listened to this on the radio not seen, Bobby is also dark, and I'm also kind of dark, so we're not racist, right? We
He
can
was
say whatever
wearing
we
a
want.
black jacket, so that's why I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
yeah. But it was like way off the road, and then he stopped and had like a meal, and he smoked cigarettes. I'm like, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen. What are you doing? It
We
was down
were,
like a road, like a unpaved, bumpy road. That's what like kind of shook us too. We're like in the car, like where is this motherfucker taking us?
yeah.
And we have all our luggage in the back, and he just decided to go on his own little lunch
And
break. I'm like, dude, it's a
it's like
5 hour
10
drive.
p.m. It's like
Yeah,
10:30 p.m.
and
And
then
we're already midway away from like civilization,
uh
high out of our minds.
uh
Just now, like the stages of edibles come in the sense of complete joy, happiness, and then it gets stronger because you don't know when it's going to stop. Now you're just every single sound is paranoia. So now put us in a position where we're in the middle of this jungle road out of nowhere, no lights around anywhere, but one like
no,
7-Eleven on the side. It's not a 7-Eleven. It's like a, I don't know, 8-4. but it
Yeah.
was just some sort of whatever. Whenever the guy's there, it's open.
Yeah. And
And
this
yeah,
asshole wanted to have cigarettes and eat some food. I'm like, you have a 5-hour job. What are you doing here? Drive us to our destination
yeah,
and don't kill us.
but we couldn't figure out how to open the van.
Yeah.
Or like,
And then remember how he drove? He would like go as close as he could to like a motorcycle and then swerve. We thought he was just gonna kill everyone on the road. He was like, I understand there's crazy drivers in Asia and Central America, but it was he was next level.
look, being Indian and gone having to visit India, and I've seen driving there. They're in Asian driving, and my cousins are in Bangkok. They tell me all the time. I've seen it when I visited. Asian drivers have a different not Asian drivers here. I'm saying from Asia when they're there.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
very sense of no fear and no rules, and they just have to weasel their way
Mm.
through traffic, and everyone else is also doing the same thing, so everyone's hyper aware of everyone else. So
Yeah.
there's no accident, but everything is very very scary for
Oh.
someone being in passenger side.
Yeah.
It's I
And
mean,
so then we don't remember anything. We don't remember checking in at our hotel.
no,
And
I
then the next day
remember
we
I
end up on
couldn't
this
open
beach.
my
I forget what the
eyes.
beach is.
I couldn't open my
Yeah.
eyes for the life of me. It was just the heaviness. Could not do it. So I just handed you my passport, and you were able to figure that out.
Uh-huh.
And that
And
night was just a wash.
yeah, it was. We just went right to our hotel room, and we're in Sihanoukville, which I'm not pronouncing this right, but Sihanoukville on the beach, gorgeous place. There's parties all night if we wanted, and then we had a ferry the next day. We don't. We
But
like woke up
granted,
at 10 a.m. the next day.
at that time of year, though, like we went to the beach, it was filthy. Remember that? It was like a place
It
that
was absolutely
used to
disgusting.
be, it used to be like the beach town, party city, whatever. But during
Uh,
that time or whatever it was just piles of trash along the beach.
and condoms and needles. It was like you expect. It was expectation versus reality. You expect like it was going to be from that movie with called The Beach. What's his name? The most famous actor on earth. Well, anyways,
Leonardo
but then it
DiCaprio.
was just then it was just absolutely shit. So see you Nickville, we catch that ferry, we go to Koh Rong, and we were expecting more than what was there, which is fine that it wasn't, but I was expecting kind of like 50% of a Thailand like island, and it was
Like a
like
Phuket kind
10%.
of thing. No, it was
Yeah,
like
but even
five.
like
It was like
way
five.
less. Yeah.
It was just the shoreline. It was like the one shoreline, maybe like I'd say maybe two, like one football field
Yeah.
width of
And
that's
they're
the whole shoreline of like shops, hostels, bars, and
uh-huh.
restaurants, whatever you want to call them, or little
Yeah.
eating areas. And that's it. Remember, there's like even that little
Yeah.
sky bar you got to walk up to the very top,
Yeah.
but that was it. There was
Yeah.
nothing there. It was just
No.
hostels up on top of hostels, like stacked like Lego kind of things.
And they
And
were
then
all
if you
just
go
like
further down,
shacks. It wasn't
yeah,
like nice places, which is totally fine. It was awesome how it was. Like it was rustic, it was sweet, but it was
hmm
just little like thatched roof shacks. It was nothing at all.
yeah, it
So
was like two Australian dudes come there 4 years ago, say, "Yep, let's just open up a
uh,
bar." That's the bar.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
next door to that, it's like, all right, this German guy wants to start making hamburgers. That's his hamburger spot. And there's a
yeah.
guy making pizza. That's him, and that's who he's been there for 2 years, never left. Like
I mean, let's go
that's the
back.
kind of stuff that happened there.
Yes, and then there's jungle raves and
Well, let's
yeah,
backtrack though. Like when we first got there, we were dropped off at that beach, like the common area beach.
yeah,
But our hotel, like our fancy first class hotel, which was like $70 a night, but it was the highest rated situation and actually pretty
uh-huh,
nice when we got there, was actually a mile and a half down the beach. And a mile and a half down the beach, one portion of it, like 200 feet, was like pure jungle, and another 50 feet was that wash. That if you got there at the wrong time, you now have to walk within 5 feet of water across
yeah,
like 25 feet
yeah,
to the other side. So it was a treacherous
very
walk back and forth that area. I think the first night though, the first time we actually got a taxi guy, water taxi,
water taxi, yeah.
takes us there.
And that's if you're sober during the day, it's scary. If you were drunk at night, like I was many a time. It's over for you. It's scary. You think someone's
If,
chasing you.
if you didn't have me that night,
Oh
you would have
yeah.
been left on the beach. It was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
bad.
Because I had 1 or 7 too many Joss shots.
I
So
think you were going
Joss
for there's
shots.
a record. Remember, they keep tabs of everyone
Hmm.
from each country.
Each country, whoever, like whatever country had the most, and I was like, Canada was at like not doing well next to like Australia and
You needed to suck it up and bring them
Norway.
up a little bit.
Exactly. So I try and put Canada on my back as much as I can.
Bad idea.
So,
Let's
yeah,
get
and
into these Josh shots real quick.
yeah. Do you want to explain what it is?
So Josh shots are this little packet powder, like imagine like a Fun Dip, if you will, but like a
Yeah,
little pouch.
yeah.
And then they have a little shot of vodka with some space, and they pour that pouch into said vodka, and all of a sudden it's bubbly and fizzy, like a science experiment. And then you go outside to the beach. They make you turn around 3 times,
Spin.
slap you in the face once or twice, and then throw some water in your face, and you take the shot, then throw some more water in your face,
Yeah,
and then
and
like
then you get
cool.
hugged. Then they
Then you
give you
get
a
hugged
hug.
at the end. Yeah.
So
So that's the process.
yeah,
And
and Joss shot is
there's
like,
a leaderboard on the back of the bar of all the country folk that came, and
uh,
I think it was like England and Norway were Australia was number one,
Australia was
obviously.
up there. Yeah, New Zealand, Australia,
For some
Norway.
reason they love those.
Yeah, the Netherlands. Netherlands was high up too. So
Let's
me
talk about
being,
when we try to look at the ingredients and what a Josh shot is. It's
yeah,
just pure
death.
caffeine stimulation. I don't know, like everything you have in like a Red Bull, but in a powder form,
I think as
and then
close as you can get
fizzy
to
bubbles.
cocaine, that's
I
not
wouldn't even say
cocaine,
that.
is like is what they put in this, like whatever.
It's nitro fueled for sure.
It's literally illegal. And I called it gorilla panic. I was like, this is not, you need to yeah, it was absurd. And so me being the ever competitor, I was like, Canada's gonna get on the board. Like we're climbing this motherfucker like the
Yeah, you were like
Olympics.
18th. You brought him up to 12 or something like that
Yeah,
by
we
yourself.
we almost got the podium. And then one of us maybe had a few too many and then just was motionless on the beach. And the only way we
There's a
got
point
home.
where after you spin and you get the water blasted, the water pushed you back and like just kind of all the way to the sand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like a cartoon. And that was the time where after 9 p.m., all those little fishing boats like go home to their families. So
Oh
no one's
yeah.
around, but there are these group of kids, like I guess eating like a shawarma wrap or tacos or something on the beach, something they were making, barbecuing,
Yeah.
whatever. And I saw them pointing and laughing at you. I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you for a second. So come on over,
Yeah.
little Cambodian children on the island. Let's
Yeah. Come
do
here,
you
little
have a
pup.
boat to take us back? And, like, here is some money. Here's a fresh $10 bill. Like, here, what can I do with this?
Yeah, they're rich.
Yeah, and then then one guy was like, "Oh yeah, this guy, he has his dad has a boat. He'll go get it." I'm like, "Does he need to ask his dad, or he's just gonna no? He's gonna steal it from his dad." I'm like, okay, perfect. So that's what I entrusted. I gave him I think I gave him like $50 or like almost 100 just to like really ensure this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So that I entrust that to happen. Half an hour goes by. We're left on the beach stranded. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a beacon of light shows up around the bay curve, and it's our little buddy with the
Huh.
boat, ready to, they helped me pick you up and put you into the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And then we drove that 2 miles on the ocean to get back to our hotel.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. It
And
was the
so
greatest story ever.
it was, and just so everyone knows, Joss shots are only legal in there. It literally says illegal everywhere except Indonesia and the Philippines. So everyone knows. If you're over there, don't have too many because then you want to die. And the next day we had a jungle rave, and
It
I
was
don't
an
even like raves. Well, now I'm a
Alice in Wonderland themed rave, which I was all about.
yeah, and I think now I'd be okay with it. I was never a big rave fan, but also I was like full anxiety after like it was the next day hangover of the gorilla
You had the
panic. So I
scaries.
didn't.
Yeah.
I had the full scaries like I've never had. And then it was really cool because we had to walk through the jungle for like 30 minutes, and we're like, all right, are we gonna get killed again? Like this seems to be a common theme. And then all of a sudden, like it started getting like lights in the trees, like fluorescent lights. and it's kind of getting cooler. And then
Leading us like a treehouse with like the Cheshire Cat painted on the wall,
yeah,
and then a whole Alice in Wonderland glow in the dark theme.
theme,
With
and there was
The German kid, our tour guide from the boat, was the DJ.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
decorated like beautifully. It was so well done. Like that'd be impressive if it was here in
It was
Phoenix.
a nice club situation.
In 30 minutes in the jungle on this tiny little island with it was nicer than everywhere else. It was unreal.
You know, it felt safe there too. It was all the foreigners, all the tourists. Everyone was there.
It did not
Everyone
feel
that was
safe.
in the hospital. I mean,
Well, no, it felt
I
safe for
made
you.
a lot of friends that night.
It only didn't feel safe for me because I was scared. My heart
Yeah.
was still beating out of my chest. Some woman was dressed like a full cat and looked at me and was in full cat mode and started like meowing at me and licking her hands. And I was like, Bobby, I need to get the fuck out of
Did
here.
she appear out of a tree with the
Yeah.
moonlight? Only her smile remained.
And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. I'm just in too much pain. I'm scared. These cat ladies are coming at me. I need to go home. And then I walked back the other way through the jungle, and I thought someone was chasing me, and it was terrifying.
Did
Um,
you make it back safely that night alone? I
I
don't
did.
remember.
Well, I'm here.
Well, did I go with you? I don't think
No,
I did.
you stayed. I was like, because we had our other friends we met there, like those guys from wherever the
Yeah,
hell they
the
were, and I was like,
the
whatever.
flight
They're
attendants. Yeah.
yeah. And then I was like, you're fine. I need to get out of here. My heart's gonna explode, and I'm scared, and I'm so tired because I didn't sleep the whole next day. It was like I woke up at 4 a.m. and was just like gorilla panicking. Um, we don't have much time. I got to get to this thing, but I've got. So then we get scooters. We got to get to the scooter story and a couple others.
We haven't even started the scooter story.
No, so we get scooter and like when you get rent scooters, like hey, take them up and down the street for a second and make sure you're like okay on them and all that kind of stuff. So they just give us the scooters, and the
We didn't
first
rent them. Remember, they didn't have rentals. They just said,
yeah
"Oh, these are scooters that me and my employee take. You can
yeah
borrow them. Just make sure you don't crash."
yeah,
Okay, deal. And that's what we did.
and the first it was like a video game. The first challenge was to go across like a wooden 2x4 plank
Yeah.
across this moat with a giant water buffalo, wild
Which
water buffalo, like 6 feet to our right.
we didn't discover the water buffalo until we got across. Then I look
And
over. I'm like, "Holy shit! There's a goddamn water
yeah,
buffalo.
if you fall, it's over for you.
It's
It's
done."
a wrap. Cancel
Shit.
Christmas. It is
That's a
done.
there's a family water buffalo on that in
Yeah,
that moat
yeah,
for protection or whatever the hell it may be. But
yeah,
yeah, it was that's the route they take every day to that hotel.
yeah. And then we get further along into the jungle, and we're driving along, and we're kind of side by side, and the path is just like a one-way road size, not whatever, and it's just all dirt and jungle. And
And
there's this
vines.
giant kind of like snake going. I was like, oh, cool. And it's like kind of brownish or greenish. And I start going towards it, and like, Bobby, look at this, a snake. And I kid you not, guys, you can't see if you're listening, you can't see what I'm doing. It all of a sudden in that quick went like 10 feet away from us to get away a little bit from us
So
and
they're
then
off the
raise up full hood like it's
like this.
goddamn Aladdin, and it's raised at us, and we're like a fucking cobra, and we swerve away because they also can spit.
So
And
two things. They could spit from that level because when he was about, we called it 12 feet long. He was that
mhm,
long. He looked like a vine because there were vines across that pathway. All of a sudden, one
yeah,
vine slithered off the side. And as we get past it, we're on mopeds. And when he
yeah,
raised up, his face or his head was at the same level at our eyes. Like that's how
oh
long
yeah,
he was. So he could
and,
spit, blind us,
uh-huh,
or
straight,
what. But what we saw though when we went by, he leaped 20 feet into the trees, which
yeah,
means had he been facing us, he could have leaped and grabbed one of our legs, and there
yeah,
is no anti venom on that island.
no, which we found out 20 minutes later.
I was
No
the only
doctors either. You were the
I
only
was the
doctor
only
on the
one.
island.
I was the
You
only
didn't.
patient. Yeah,
You didn't have anti-venom either, so it was again cancel
game over.
Christmas. It's
That was
over.
game over.
There's no
Game
more
over.
quarters. You're out of quarters. You can't hit the reset button on your Nintendo. It is done.
Like we were within 3 arms length of one of the most dangerous wild animals on this earth.
And I kid you not, people, the scariest thing about this whole thing was how fucking fast it was. It was like it went from we drove up and we're 6 feet away from it to getting another 6 feet and rearing up in like literally like that. It was like, and it was gone and up and flared. It was so. And then we almost fell off our bikes because obviously, when you see a King Cobra, if no one's ever done that, you like swerve away from it and you swerve so fast you almost crash and you're like, oh my god, if I crash, is it going to attack me?
You just have to assume he's more scared of us than anything else, but
Yeah,
he was in striking range of
that
us.
was not the case.
We were within a strike zone. We were
Yeah,
in strike zone.
yeah, it was
And we were
like
these two beautifully sweaty,
yeah,
fleshed guys on
exactly.
mopeds, ready and tasty for him to have.
Uh-huh.
And then what did
Oh.
the guy at the restaurant say that we got to our Pineapple Beach destination? Didn't he say something about, oh, you didn't catch it?
Oh yeah, that guy's a nut.
Yeah,
And
because
like
apparently it's a delicacy.
and multiple people die on the island, not because they're not very aggressive unless you surprise them, right? And so people will die because they'll be planting rice and shit in like their tall grass from the mud, and it'll kind of scare it, and then it'll get you, like we did, except we're on mopeds, thank God.
Yeah, so they're planting their rice between their water buffalo little patch and a King Cobra den. So that's
Yeah,
the life they lead. That's the danger they live in every
yeah.
day.
So everyone go to Korong and check out the King Cobras and the Josh shots, and you'll have a great time. No, no death will happen.
You'll have a grand old time. You'll have the greatest
Yeah,
time ever. You'll have so many memories.
yeah.
So much.
So I have a
What did we
physical
even eat?
therapist appointment I'm late for. Oh, great food. Um,
I had a lot of Thai food there. It was just a
yeah,
lot of basil
stir
chicken.
stir fried morning glory is one of my favorite meals of all time, and I'm pretty sure that's just solely Cambodian. It's like a vegetable dish that's just full of flavor and stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, like the what's it called? Basil chicken, or is another word, or is it just yeah
In
Thai
Thai,
basil?
it's
Thai basil.
pak kapao.
Yeah,
So Thai basil.
and
And
I had never like what are they called? Egg rolls, but the vegetable ones, but the ones in Cambodia are oh my god, so good. Like it's very light.
all the food there was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like food there was delicious.
Aside from the happy
Like
pizza.
for the most part, it was pretty safe.
Yeah.
I'd
Oh,
say.
definitely. I love it. And then I think I'll have to do a different podcast on Siem Reap because that's like 30 minutes on its own. And Bobby wasn't there anyways, but Siem Reap is top 3 favorite places in the world for me. It is so cool. It's where Angkor Wat is, but Angkor Wat is miles and miles of temples. I ate
That's where
Scorpion,
Tomb
Tomb
Raider.
Raider. Yeah,
That's
Tomb
what it
Raider.
was. Yeah.
And
Remember, we did one night in Bangkok before that.
yeah,
That's where we
and everyone,
met.
yes, Bangkok's always good.
But we had something very special there because we had well, my cousin took us out to that northern Isan Thai place where you
Yeah,
almost died from spice.
yeah, and food. It
Yeah,
was just food after food after food. It was incredible.
so much
Um,
food.
and Siem Reap, I ate scorpion. They have stuffed frog, which are really good. Ate snake, but and also you go to the floating lake and the floating river, or sorry, the floating town, where it's towns on stilts. So we'll get to Siem Reap on a different podcast, but you have to go. Cambodia is one of the greatest places on earth. So, is there
I
any
agree.
last things I forgot? I think we
The
nailed most, right?
bioluminescent plankton, we didn't talk about that because we did
Yeah,
swim in the ocean
with that.
with that, and that was cool. And then
Yeah,
actually, it was more fun to do it from the beach and not that stupid boat tour. That
yeah, that's
was
true.
useless. And then
Yeah,
remember they took us to that random island where we walked. It was an island that wasn't larger than maybe like a cul-de-sac, like just like a little island,
yeah.
but a little mountain like shooting right up, and you have to walk up, and there is this random temple on top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
There's a lot
beautiful.
of beautiful things in that nature,
Ah,
and that was really nice to see.
definitely.
And the snorkeling there was phenomenal. Then we went
Yeah,
to another. We had that long walk also to that one other where the puppy beach. Remember all the dogs were?
yeah. Puppy
Yes.
Beach. It's a
And then we
utopia.
walked up. Yeah, it was like a puppy utopia. Like one little bay harbor had just these random stray puppies everywhere.
Yeah,
And they were all so
I think.
friendly and so normal.
Yeah, little sweet little puppies. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we walked up to this. They took us to bar to bar to bar, basically. It was like a bar hopping boat tour.
Yeah,
And
a
then with the same
boat
kind of food.
island bar hop. What's better than that? An island bar hop tour? What? It's the
With
greatest thing ever.
puppies. With
With puppies
puppies greeting you at the dock. It was
and
one of
jazz
your
shots.
most famous little Instagram pictures is the one with you and the puppy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Got
It
one
was
of
a
your
cute, and
highest
the puppy
likes.
was like smiling. It was so good. Little
He
orange
was
guy.
posing, the little orange one.
Like, what's
Yeah.
up? He kind of was like
Yeah.
throw it like if I was like this, but a dog.
Yeah,
That
he
was
was
what he
just like
was.
sneaky, like,
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the greatest podcast in the universe, inspiredtravelite.com. It's available on all platforms, Spotify, well, you're probably listening to it right now. Bobby, we'll have to include some more Cambodia on our next one, just in case we miss stuff. But
I think this was like a nice precursor to kind of jog our memories, and then I think the next couple of days we're gonna start getting flashbacks back.
Some deep dives. We'll do like a part 2 Cambodia.
Yeah, there's definitely more to Cambodia than what we touched upon today.
It's true.
Because it was quite an experience.
Indeed.
Every single day had an adventure.
Some not so good.
Almost
some
life
good.
and death.
Yeah. Beautiful, Bobby. Well, I'm excited to see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah. I'm seeing you today as well, but also tomorrow. This inspiredtravelite.com. Thank you, Bobby Bedi. See him on Instagram.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.